I have an ambitious project coming up that I will need to do some powder coating for. After being inspired by a Blondie Hacks video, I ordered an Eastwood powder coating kit, which we'll discuss in a separate video. I also picked up this double wall oven on Facebook Marketplace and need to get it set up for use in the shop. Here's how I did it. this one that's leaning too far this way. See, here's what I mean. Down at the bottom, they should line up about there, and then as we pan up, see how this first one leans over. And obviously I knew that could happen, but I mean the other three were just fine. So I must not have had the magnet very well on that. But I wish I'd remembered I had this fireball angle here. This was a blemish from FabTech. A friend picked it up for me. But yeah, we're definitely out a little bit there, so no big deal. Should have checked it before I burned it in. Let's break the welds and fix it. That was dumb. This ain't a welding helmet, silly. Well, for some reason the camera decided it wasn't important to record welding these two on, but I was able to get those two welded on, no problem. I checked them, they're nice and square. Now I need to get this off the bench. So I've got my shop crane here, and I know this is going to be really wibbly wobbly. I'll hold it as it goes up. So there we go. That is going to fit inside of here. These two in the back are just simply there for protecting the backside there. It's going to be these four that actually are the structural surround around the oven. see if that's gonna fit in here. Yeah, buddy. That actually fits exactly like I was wanting it to. Sticks out the top just a smidge. And then of course those wheels go on the bottom. And then I can drill and tap screw holes right into this framing member to hold the oven in. So the oven's just sitting in there right now just as a mock-up because I wanted to see where I want to mount the junction box to actually feed power to this thing. And I think what I want to do is I want to mount the junction box right here. So rather than having this long flex coming up, I think I'm going to replace the flex straight connector with this 90-degree connector and actually squeeze it in right underneath here and go right into the top of this junction box. So I'm going to want to add a small little piece of steel coming through here to actually mount the back of the box to it. So the box will mount roughly like that. And then I'll probably have, instead of having the cord come out the top, I'll probably have the cord come out the bottom. And then maybe I'll add a small hook right here where I can wrap the SO cable to, assuming I have any SO cable. Yep, that's what I'm thinking. So taking a look here, we've got 4 wires, okay? The whites are neutral, the black and the red are the 2 hots. Now I'm hoping to run this thing off a welder receptacle, which only has 2 hots and a ground, which is what this bare wire is. So there's an extra wire here that I actually need, and the purpose of this is because the internal components actually run on 120 volts. The only thing that actually runs on 240 in this oven is the actual heating elements, which run off of these 2. So somewhere inside here, they're referencing this neutral and probably just one of these hots to run the electronics in there. I don't want to have to install a special outlet for this oven. So I've got a crazy idea. I've got a 0.5 kVA step-down transformer here. And my hope is if we open this thing up, I can actually find where the 120 volt circuit is split off. And I'm hoping I can just feed this transformer with the 2 hots and derive a 120 volt control circuit for this thing. Now, we'd have to set a box for this in the back somewhere and do a little bit of hacking inside this unit. I don't even know if this is going to work. If not, then I guess I have to install a special receptacle for this machine. But I want to see if we can do it, so let's pop, hopefully we can pop this top cover off and see the electronics inside there. So let's give it a try. Yeah, there's all the circuitry. So what do we got going on in here? All right, so the first thing I see when I open this up is notice that there are 2 wires landed on this red terminal here, but there are 3 and 3 on the white and the black here. So that's telling me that they're doubling up on this hot wire coming in. So it's this black circuit that's actually doing the 120 volt in reference to the neutral here. A wiring diagram of this unit would be nice. Is there by chance a wiring diagram on the bottom? Wah, wah, wah. No wiring diagram. That's okay, we'll figure it out. Everything goes to a wiring harness back here. That's annoying. So these upper wires are the power coming in. And then, since this one's the lonesome one, I can assume that it goes to the heating coils, which means these 2 wires are the complementary pair for that. These 3 right here should be my 120 volt stuff. I'm gonna go online and see if I can find a wiring diagram for this, because I really do want to know what these 2 neutrals go to. So absolutely no surprise I couldn't find any schematics online for this unit. Way to go, Whirlpool, making it harder for people to fix things. So I just popped the backside off myself and took a peek. And it's actually not that complicated at all. I know it looks like there's a lot going on back here, but there's really not. Okay, so notice we've got white wires back here going to the back of these lamp holders. These are our lamps for the ovens, for the oven. And we got white wires going to the fan units, and they're actually labeled 120 volts. So I am fairly confident that in order to change this over to add that control transformer is I'm just going to pop this black wire off and these 2 white wires, and that's going to be it. These 3 wires right here are going to get fed from that control transformer set to 120 volts, and everything else is going to stay the same. So let's mock that up. I'm just going to set the transformer back here, and we're going to jury rig this and see if it's going to work off of a welder receptacle. So let's take a look at this transformer here. I'm going to be putting 240 volts into it. So I actually need to take these 2 little terminal blocks out, and it's actually really nice that whoever originally wired this left both of the little strips there. I see they're stacked on each other. So whoever originally wired this, thank you, because now I've got both jumpers still. So we'll actually slide this right underneath. Okay, so these 2 wires are going to be my inputs. So this is going to connect right to the 220 coming in. X2 and X1, so these 2 terminals right here are going to be my output. So this is where I'm going to get 120 volts. So I can land 120 here. I'm sorry, I could land my black here and my white here, or I could land my black here and my white here. It doesn't matter. Now I am going to ground the secondary of this. I wonder if... So I found this pigtail in the parts pile. This is what we're going to use at least to test it. Don't let this white wire confuse you. think of this white wire as the red wire. So we've got a red, black, and green. So we're going to tie that to the red, black, and, well, the bear in this case. Let's plug it in and see what happens. So I got my comically large extension cord here. Let's plug this in and see what blows up. Nothing went boom, and I heard some clicks. And it looks like we got a clock working. Woo! So do we have lights when we open the door? How do we get the lights on? I heard something click. Am I missing something? I might be missing something here. We might be missing a feed wire somewhere. No big deal. Let's actually see if the oven works. Upper oven, 350. Set timer, press start. Let's press start. See what happens. I heard more clicks. So that should be warming up the upper oven. Well, it looks like it's going to work. I'm going to trace out the wires to those lights. So basically this guy right here, yes, this is all hot, so don't be touching wires. But this wire right here, trace that out and see where it originates power from, because I don't think we have power to our lights. I hear the relays clicking on and off, but no lights turn on. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so I metered some stuff out, and I noticed that the feed for the lights was still tied to this hot right here. Actually, so I ended up tracing it out to this wire right here actually splices here. So I need to split this up. All right, let's plug it back in and see if we have lights now. Aha, look at that. We have the lights. Not too bad for hacking some electrical in the garage, huh? Now we don't need a neutral. Now I can just plug it right into a welder receptacle. So I'm going to go ahead and button this all back up. Now, unfortunately, this transformer can't stay where it's sitting, right? The actual cover for this comes up about this high, so there's no room for the transformer. So the transformer has to be mounted somewhere else. So I'm going to take the transformer out, and I'm actually going to mount the transformer in an auxiliary junction box, which I'll figure out here in just a minute. So these wires here no longer have to be inside this unit, but I still need to feed my 110 volt and the neutral reference into this system here. So I'm actually going to use the old neutral feed wire as my back feed for the neutral, and I'm actually going to pull another wire inside this flex. And I'm going to have 4 wires and a ground inside of this flex, and they're going to backfeed my 120 into the system. Wiring is boring. Nobody wants to watch wiring. So I'm going to poke a hole in the flex here. So I can run that weird tape on here. Take this flex 90 apart. I think I'm still going to go into that 4-line box. Maybe. I may have an alternative idea as well. So we're not changing any of the wiring. It works. We know how it wires up properly. We're just mounting stuff remotely now in another location. Uh-oh, I got an extra screw. Where's the extra screw go? Uh-oh. Oh, here it is, right down here. Now this box is less than ideal. Unfortunately, it's the only thing I had on hand that's gonna work. This was actually in the scrap pile. We got this screen cut in the top. We got a button here. We got a cutout on the bottom here for all these old connectors. There's a nasty cutout in the side for a fan. And we've got another fan cutout on the top. So I got all the holes covered up. I just cut some pieces of aluminum and screwed them in roughly. There's nothing special about it. Some of them are a little crooked. I'm not going to worry about it. This one over here, an 1.25" knockout plug fit in. I'm going to leave this 1/2" KO open for right now. But I also got the transformer mounted in there, and I'm just going to use that fuse block I was using. Let's find where we're going to mount this. Looks about as dorky as I thought it was going to. All right, next step is going to be drill and tap the holes for the mounting screws. So I found a short piece of 8-3 SO cable and found a cable grip here that I think is going to fit it pretty good. So this is a bolt that has a bearing on it. The die goes on the bearing side, and then the punch goes on the back. So I'll thread this on like so. And I don't have the proper wrench for that. It should come with a ratcheting wrench. And the other side. There we go. 1" knockout. Now this can go in. All right, let's get this box wired up. All right, let's give this thing a try. Hey, it didn't blow up. I heard the transformer magnetized. Do we have lights? Look at that. We've got the control panel. Sweet. I think that little setup up there worked. So now we don't have to worry about the neutral, and we don't have to worry about a separate cord for that. The light works. All right, both ovens are preheating. Let's see, are we getting warm? Oh yeah, it's warming up. What about the bottom? Yeah, bottom one's warming up too. Sweet. Now we can have pizza parties in the shop. No, probably not. All right, well it works, so let's get this thing lifted up and put the wheels on and call this project a wrap. All right, let's get some wheels on this and see how twisted the frame really is. What in the heck? These cheap little scooter things from Harbor Freight. Not very good. It doesn't wobble. Woo! Oh, and it rolls silky smooth. That is exactly what I wanted. And it's not tippy. Very stable. Oh yeah, very stable. Jeez, I can crawl on it. Ovens come down. Yeah, push it on that. There's no, I'm gonna break the door before it tips over. See how hard it is to really push around. Oh, that is no problem at all. No problem at all. And my floor here is not, I mean, each pad is smooth, but the transition from pad to pad, they're starting to heave. And geez, look at that, it goes right over them. What about the drain here? How bad is it? Oh, no problem over the drain either. That is better than I was hoping for. And of course, the wheels are lockable. Alright, well that leaves a tiny bit to be desired, but I mean that's locked there. It ain't moving. Oh, that looks just fine for loading parts. Nice! I couldn't pass up the opportunity to say I've made cookies in the shop. Now, of course, once this gets used for powder coating, it'll be contaminated and will no longer be food safe. But that hasn't happened yet, so I seized the opportunity and made shop cookies. Thanks for watching.